Hello and welcome. My name is Tara Ann. I'm a master coach here with Primal Health. We are having another Coach's Corner today, and today we are with dear Jennifer Ostman, who will take us on her transformative journey from aspiring health coach to stepping into entrepreneurial shoes.
Hi, thanks for having
Welcome.
me.
You're so welcome. It's great to have you, and we have quite a big group on their way to join us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm used to being in your shoes. I get to do some of the interviews for Primal sometimes. And so you and I get to share this position of hosting these webinars, which is always so much fun. So it's going to be interesting being on this side of it, answering the questions.
Oh, well, this is going to be great. It's such a wonderful community, and I'm appreciating how there's just so much more courses and offerings, because it's one thing to get our certification, but then what? It can be a daunting task to like build a business or grow your practice. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Jennifer, how about we just jump right in, and I'd love to hear a little bit about, tell us about your story, how you got here, what brought you to Primal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I promise you guys I won't start at like I was born on a Friday. I my journey started 2016, 2017. I actually my first certification is with the NTA. I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I was
Mhm.
drawn to the industry. I kind of grew up in a healthy household. My mom's always been health minded. And so it was a progression of something that I really wanted to do. So I followed my passion, and I became an FNTP, a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, in 2017. The timing of that was really interesting because I had actually struggled a little bit to get pregnant right before, and I was deciding I needed to just kind of move on with my life, take the next step. I enrolled in the course, and then the same week I found out I was pregnant. So at the end, I know it was naturally, so it was so interesting, this timing. So at the end of this course, I have my daughter. She is born 6 weeks before my final exam. So it was a whirlwind of a project. My two babies were born, right? My baby and my nutrition practice. And it was a very much a new beginning for me. So I had left my old career. I had a newborn at home. I quit my corporate job. And with all of that, I was ready. I was ready to start a practice. I was ready to start helping people. I was ready to be rolling in the clients, which is we're all ready for like that. As soon as we graduate, we're ready to be rolling in the clients, right?
Right.
And I felt, and I felt pretty lost for a while. I give myself grace during that period of time. I had a newborn, but at the same time, I knew I was very passionate about this new career. I was very excited to get going. And so I was diving right in to a million different things and felt completely aimless. I wasn't sure, you know, do I try to find one-on-one clients? But I can't really look at one-on-one clients because I have a newborn. I don't really have the bandwidth to be seeing one-on-one clients. Okay, group program. Do I put together a group program? I tried that. I need to do marketing. I need to do sales. I need to figure out how to bring in new clients. I need to figure out how to work with people that are not my best friends in my family. I did that, right? You exhaust those resources pretty quickly. And so I didn't know, I wasn't making any money. I wasn't knowing what to do, where to go. Um, and then something kind of just fell into my lap. It was very lucky. And actually, I will say that it didn't really fall into my lap. I was making an effort to put my name out there as a health coach. Um, and because of that, instead of getting clients, I actually got the attention of a recruiter, and I was recruited to a company to work for an online, digital nutrition and wellness company,
Okay.
which was a huge relief. It was a huge relief
Fine.
because I just felt like I was floundering for. I mean, it was 3 years. It was from 2017 to 2020. Can you hear my dog barking?
Just a little bit. It's okay.
Okay, as long as it's not disturbing you guys, then
No.
I'm good. Hopefully she'll chill out here in a second. If not, I'll go put her away. Let me know. So for the first 3 years, I again, I was aimless. I was lost. I had no confidence in my abilities to be able to really help people from a start, middle, end journey. I knew that I could do some help. I knew that I could, for the most part, I could help people start on their journey. But I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I wasn't getting the commitment from the clients. And as I mentioned, I wasn't really getting very many clients. And so when I was recruited to work as a health coach for a company, it wasn't full-time, it was part-time. I was so relieved to throw away my entrepreneur business owner hat. I mean, I was ready to burn it to the ground. And I did, because that was a long 3 years of wandering aimlessly. And
Do you mind me asking, like, what, during those 3 years, you said you were taking some action
yeah,
to, put your name out there. And
yeah.
what was that like? What were you doing?
I thought Instagram was my only option, right? So that I was trying to do Instagram. Sorry, I'm gonna move this so that she can come in, not bark at me. I was Instagramming, and I was trying to build an email list, and I really enjoyed in-person talks. So I got a couple of those, and those gave me a few extra emails here and there to put on my list. And then COVID, right? And so then all my in-person stuff stopped, and I wasn't able to then, all the multitasking, I wasn't able to then consistently build my email list, because I really wanted to continue those in-person talks, but I couldn't. So then I felt very lost. And I actually luckily started working as a part-time health coach for this company in June of 2020, which was
Okay.
like right there at the height of everything. So I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about my business anymore. I don't have to do that. I can just work here for somebody else. And I did, and I still am. I now work for the company full time. I've moved up in the company. I enjoy it. I get to work in this industry that I love so very much. But I will tell you, since June of 2020, that desire to own my own practice has never gone away.
Right.
And yeah, that itch, yeah, that desire to have ownership over my own processes, my own programs, my own clientele, the creative side of things. I couldn't ignore that. And even with a great job, even with a job that I love, that I don't want to leave, I knew that I needed to figure out how to make a private practice work somehow. And so,
Do you mind if I just acknowledge you on that right there?
oh, thanks.
That's a really big deal. I mean, that part of your story where, you literally birthed two babies, your business baby and your real life baby that had been, it wasn't an easy journey. And so I can imagine that, while learning both new jobs, how to grow your business, and then with the pandemic and all the different things, like I can imagine the relief you may have felt when that recruiter reached out to you. And it, I've heard of this where coaches will take on some part-time work within a company so they can get some reps in,
Oh my gosh,
it
yes.
helps to just like stabilize, build the confidence. And then, like you said, that like itch inside of you was like, oh, there's more. And way to like adjust, because this is a journey, right?
Oh my gosh. And there's no deadline on this journey, right? This is like what I tell people in health coaching all the time, is that you're never going to not work on your health. You're never going to stop working on your health. So I had to acknowledge that if this itch is still there, a couple years after starting working for somebody else, then I should work on it. I should nurture it. I should continue to work on that. So
And
thank
that
you.
dedication, all while you have like a growing baby, and now he's a toddler.
Right. Which, for me, I only have one, and I know some moms with several kids, and, I think that y'all are superheroes for sure. The queens of multitasking, that's for sure. So yeah, I was working, I loved it. I had that itch, that need to nurture a business, that need to have ownership over my practice. And so looking for that next step. And I really love what you said about putting in the reps for coaching, because that is what I was able to attain with a job working for somebody else. Is that, okay, the scary part of coaching strangers is now I'm past that. Okay, I can do that now. But I still felt like something was not quite there in my coaching. I was still not 100% confident in my coaching abilities. And so I knew that if I wanted to nurture a business, I needed to feel way more confident in my coaching skills. As I'm thinking about what that looks like, and there's that fine balance, right, Terry Ann, that between, do I need more certifications or do I just need to practice more? And I think that we all can feel, especially, if you've got imposter syndrome, which I had hard, more certifications feels like safe. This, like, okay, I just need another class. I need another course. I need to do more certifications so that I can have this knowledge. And on the flip side of that, it's really truly also all about the experience and the reps and the coaching and the practice. So I didn't want to fall in the trap, and I knew that as I was going into deciding what I wanted to do next. I knew I didn't want to go the route of just collecting more credentials, but I couldn't figure out why. One thing that was really hard was knowing that I had the knowledge to help people, but I didn't have the ability to help them implement the changes that I was recommending, right? And so with my job and with my experience, I was like, all right, here's what you should do. I got all these things. Here's the list of recommendations I have for you. Now go do them. And that did not work very well, as you can imagine. And it's so hard to see that as a coach, and to not be able to feel helpless, to feel like I can't help this person make these changes because I can't go to their house. I can't cook for them. I can't make these choices for them at the grocery store. I can't go kick them out and make them go take a walk every morning, right? So I was, in my research, trying to figure out what to do next. I had come across the board exam, so the NBHWC board exam, and I was noticing that it was showing up more and more on like job boards, like LinkedIn and Indeed. I was, okay, what is this board exam, and what do you have to do to become a board certified health coach? Because, and is that not what I already, like, what am I if if I'm not that, like, what's the difference? And so looking into the board certification, I found Primal. So that's how I was able to hone in on Primal as my next step, because when I looked at the board's website, and they have hundreds of different options for schools that offer a program to make you eligible, Primal was my instant first choice, because I was like, oh, I know that they're going to align, my philosophy aligns with Primal. Like, I had already had this base foundation in ancestral nutrition. And so knowing some Primal Health coaches personally, and then knowing Mark Sisson's work, and then knowing what Primal stood for, that was a super easy. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Okay, good. There is a course, there's a school that already aligns with my philosophy, and I can go and learn this next step in my coaching career.
I just really love hearing that part of your story, Jennifer, because, I think most of us that are listening can align with, like, where did we feel that yes, especially with Primal. And oh, I got goosebumps all over. Thank you.
It's wonderful to line up, to find that easy yes, right? To say, okay, we know the Primal philosophy, and we know it doesn't always line up with it perfectly with conventional wisdom of nutrition. And so that was my biggest concern. I was like, if I'm going to become a board certified health coach, do I have to go back and learn things that I don't believe in, that I don't believe to be true? And it was so nice to see Primal on that list. Like, yes, okay, now I know my clear path forward. So I enrolled in the level 1 health coach certification, which was so wonderful because it was a reinforcing of my 2017 credentials, the NTA. And so lovely to be able to go in and say, okay, this is just yeah, this lines up perfectly. I know this information. I know that I'm again reinforcing what I already know to be true. So then I immediately enrolled in the master coach course. I think I was finishing level 1 and starting level 2, and there was an overlap of a few months.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was like, let's get this done. I'm ready. I'm ready to get on board with this. I was all in. And I'll tell you what, that master coach course changed my life, like changed everything for me. And
It's a
what I'm
good.
realizing now is that I didn't know what I didn't know when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it changed. What I just love so much about that master coach course was the fact that I had a foundation of nutrition and knowledge, and that
Mhm.
comes from the level 1, right? Or NTA for sure. That's, I had that prior and had a few years of experience with that. But then level 1 gives you that foundation of nutritional knowledge and the primal lifestyle and philosophy. Level 2, that master coach, I didn't realize going into it was not nutrition based, right? It was like, oh, okay, great. This is not the clinical side of things. This is behavior change coaching. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. And every lesson and every live coaching call and every experience with role playing was like, this is the missing piece. This is what every single coach needs to learn how to help people implement the recommendations that you're making, which is 99% of coaching. I know I always tell my clients that if information was all we needed, we'd all be millionaires with six-pack abs, right? We know the information. The
I love
information's
that.
out there,
Millionaires
right?
with six-pack
With
abs.
six-pack abs, because we don't need to be told what to eat. We don't need to be told, like, and granted, there's a lot of noise, and I understand that. There's a lot of conflicting information. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of confusion out there when it comes to what to eat. But ultimately, I tell people, if you really, really think hard about it, I bet in general what a healthy diet would be for you. You don't need me to tell you that. You need me to help you implement that. And with some guidance about maybe details along the way, right? Yeah, okay, maybe we should steer clear of these foods. Maybe we should eat more of these foods for sure. But ultimately, what I'm here to do is help guide the process and be the person in the passenger seat with the map while they're in the driver's seat directing where we go. And eventually, hopefully, like my goal is to be a good enough coach that they don't need me for very long. And so I move from the passenger seat with the map to like the back seat maybe for a while and let them go. And then maybe I get out of the car and let them really start to just sustain those behavior changes that they implemented while we worked together. So it was, I don't know, again, it just was such a game changer for me that I could never imagine personally at this point having a health coaching practice without those health coaching skills.
Yeah, those skills are so important. And what I'm hearing in your share there is like the the learning and the implementation of slowing down to meet the clients where they are.
Yes, and that's so hard. All the years I
We
was
get so
coaching before,
excited about
it's
like,
so
we have all
exciting.
this information here, just do
Here,
this. I
this
can
changed
very
my
much
life. It
relate.
can change yours. Here, just do this. And it's
Yeah.
so, we have such passion for what we do, and we want to shout it from the rooftops. And to me, it took years of practice to step back down from that mountaintop and say, all right, let's go side by side. Let's not go. And I think it was, Erin, I just adore. She teaches the master coach course and holds those live calls that are part of that. And I think she had this visual of like, we're not teacher student,
Mhm.
we're equals here. We're side by side. We're helping them along the way, but we have to get out of the mindset of, I have so much to teach you. I have so much to show you. Here, follow me. I can do this for you. And realize that the person you're working with is actually the expert of their own lived experience and their own body and their own lifestyle. And so we have to respect that and not step into that leader position. Even if,
Jennifer, you're so spot on. And it's, we get excited. We have so much information and we want to teach. And
yeah.
one of the big lessons I've learned is like coaching is less about teaching and
Mhm.
more about rapport building and
Mhm.
creating that safe space for trust and honesty so that the client can then like take their like bold next step, as
Yeah.
opposed to this like authority type relationship that can get some results, but like you said, your big vision is to be in the back seat, like just like reminding them of their great skills. And I want
Yes,
to acknowledge
exactly.
we've got some community members and they're asking some questions, so do you mind
Yay.
if we just answer one live? All right, well,
Yeah.
Ernie is asking, do you need a BS to get board certified? So let's bring it back to your experience around going after your certification, your boards.
Um, okay, let me think on this one. I could look it up real quick and I can't remember. There are requirements. I don't think you need a BS,
I
right?
don't think
No.
so. Mm-mm.
You do have to have either a an associate's degree or like the equivalent in work experience, I believe. Is that
Mm-hmm.
right?
I do think so.
Okay.
And all of that information can be found on their website, and I'll get that up right now and I can put that into the chat.
Yeah, I do know there are requirements, but I don't know that I don't know if the bachelor's, I think it's an associate's degree
I
is
think
what
so
you have to
too.
have. Or again, or that equivalent number of hours in work experience, which I want to say is something like 4,000 hours of work experience if you don't have the associate's degree, I believe is what you need. And then it's the eligible course, which the master coach course is. And then it's 50 coaching sessions, practice coaching sessions. And then it's a lot of studying.
Right. So it's nbhwc.org. You can check out more information there. And then
Yeah.
so yeah, continue to share us, then what happened? You were in the mastery course, and so now you're like prepping for well, then what happened?
Yeah. So then I was very fortunate that because am working full time as a health coach, it was pretty easy for me to get those 50 sessions that were required to apply to take the board exam. Um, and so then I graduated from the master program in December, and I November, December, and then I applied to sit for the boards in March. So I had about three months or so to get everything gathered to study. I did join a study group. Thankfully, I did. And I studied like crazy. There are resources and books and obviously all the materials from the Master Coach course that I just reread and studied over. Excuse me. Did a lot of practice tests and luckily passed on my first try.
Did
It
you
was,
really?
I did. Thank you.
Yeah. That's
Ooh, I was nervous.
incredible.
I was so nervous. I was honestly, it is a challenging test. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It is a very challenging test, and it's proctored, so you do have to go find the official place to go take the test. They do, it's not only the NBHWC board exam that's being administered in these places. There's also like medical boards. And so you get to put all your stuff in a locker. You're not allowed to take anything with you. You get patted down and wanded and and then you've got your little cubicle and you've got your headphones and it's I think at 4 hours to do the test. I believe, yeah, it's about 4 hours with a break in the middle. And it was intense. It was a big experience. And I left and had kind of an emotional release in my car afterwards because it was a lot. And then I found out that I passed with flying colors.
What a
And
relief.
it was a huge relief.
I
It was
imagine. Yeah.
a huge relief. That's exactly what it was. It was like,
Yeah.
and I just gonna let that burden go now. And then I was board certified. And so I was celebrated. It was wonderful. I was so happy. I felt for the first time. So that was March of last year that I passed. It was a 2023 I passed. And for the first time since 2017, and I started my health coaching career, I felt a level of confidence that I have never had. And it's interesting because I know in my work, in my full-time job, I know that I had the skills and I know I had knowledge and I felt confident, but not to this level, not to this level of having the skills of that the master coach course gave. It all of a sudden made me understand that I didn't have to have all of the answers for my clients. I didn't have to know the answer to every question that they asked me. And, in your head, on paper, we know that. We know that we're allowed to say, I don't know, I'll look that up for you. But it's always very scary to be stumped when you get when you get questions that are above and beyond my level of knowledge or my scope of practice. It can be really scary to not know those answers. And so to be able to then shift the entire coaching relationship to be more of, it's not about that. It's about how can I help you implement the changes that are going to move the needle for you? And more often than not, as we know, those are the basics. Those are we got to drink water. We got to move our bodies. We got to follow that kind of primal guidelines for food. And those are the things that are going to be the biggest game changers for people. But those are the things that people need help with actually doing on a daily basis consistently for the long haul. So anyway, that really changed my level of confidence, which re-sparked my desire to have a private practice again. So I was kind of cruising along, working at my job. That itch never went away. And then I had this master coach course. And, as most of you guys know, the primal level 1 has you go through those business modules. And I was going through those business modules, like, I'm going to go through the motions. I'm going to do these things because I know that I have to check off the box to get on to the next lesson. And as I was doing them, I was like, all right, I'm interested. I'm interested again. And it really sparked that fire in me again. And I started putting in the work for these business modules. And I was like, oh man, I really enjoy this. I really like doing this. I guess I need to look into this again. I guess I need to start thinking about my private practice again, because I just clearly can't let that go. I really want something. So
Do you mind if I pause you right there? Because we have a couple questions that have been coming in that are relevant here, because here we're talking about confidence and, this being a path or like a journey, it's not a destination. And your story is just beautiful, Jennifer, how not only like the master course helped you to like earn some skills and practice those skills, the role playing, the practice sessions, like really like to get in there and like feel and hear yourself, make mistakes and, have imperfect action, and that builds confidence. And then also the dedication to studying for the boards, going after the boards. Kenneth is in the crowd too, and he too took it in March and passed on the first time. So there's, we are in like-minded community. Awesome. And Patrick is asking, talk more about imposter syndrome. He says, it's like we know so much, but are scared, nervous, and anxious about actually sitting down and helping a client make changes. Yeah. And he sees a lot of coaching job postings that want you to have years of coaching experience and or have handled a certain load of clients or be bilingual. And so he's like, do I really need to learn another language? Oh, Patrick passed in last March too. So we've got your alumni group.
I have to say hi to Patrick. Yeah, Patrick and I were in the same master course and we were partners for several role-playing things. And hey, yeah. And I feel like you and I, Patrick, have had similar, like many conversations about exactly this. And I think that it's an ongoing conversation. To start, you're right, especially I know Patrick personally, and he does know so much. He is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this topic and everything primal related, everything health coach related. But you're right. It's that not knowing that it's in there, knowing that it's in there, but like how do we actually help people with the implementation process? And I think that's where I felt such a lifting of, the burden when I learned these master coach skills, because it was, and I think that to be totally honest, I was absolutely like intimidated by Patrick's knowledge. He's got such a big brain and he's full of information. And I always thought like, that's what I need. I have to have all of that information in my brain in order to help people. And I think that we need that shift of both, right? We have to have that information and we have to recognize when it's time to not give that information out and let people come to those conclusions and those answers themselves. And that is, that's hard. That's really, really hard.
That's a big piece. It's like when
I can help
because I have to catch myself in sessions at times, like when I see somebody's eyes starting to gloss over or they're looking around, I'm like, oh, Tara, you're taking it a little far, like soften up, slow down. And it's these soft skills
Yes.
that the master course and, the getting our reps in and really just being with people where they are,
Yeah.
that is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a lot of practice. And I will say, I still catch myself thinking about, I'm in coaching sessions, thinking about if I had to turn this into Erin, I would be criticized on these and these and these points. If this was my homework assignment, or if this is a role-playing session, I am recognizing exactly what I'm doing wrong or exactly what I could be doing better in order to serve the client. But it is so easy to fall back into the habit of, well, let me teach you this and this and this, or you have a problem, let me suggest this and this and this. How do you think about all of these things? And they're like, well, I don't know. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right, because it was my idea. I didn't let them come up with the ideas. So anyway, it's just a fascinating dance between coach and client, for sure.
That's great. And then Patrick says one more thing is that like he can, and then this is noteworthy. I can never actually get to health coaching. Teaching health sciences feels like I'm dancing around what I want to be doing. There's constant frustration. He says he's here with you. He can't escape his desire to start his own business. And Susan's asking, please share about, starting your own business.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what led me to the Launch Your Coaching Business course, which I am in the middle of. I have not finished, but I cannot say enough good things about it. And let me tell you why. So so now I felt like I had the confidence to coach. I was like, all right, dialed in. Now I know that I can run a practice. I know that if I have a private practice, I can help people. Got that. How do I start a private practice? How do I start this business? And I had terrible memories of way back 2017 to 2020, where I was wandering aimlessly and had very much had shiny object syndrome back then. I bought a course on Instagram, and I bought a course on copywriting, and I bought a course on I don't even know what else, and didn't really even finish any of them, and tried to implement a few things here and there, and everything felt so disjointed. And I will tell you, I got so overwhelmed so many times. And this is not just that first 3-year period, but since then, every time I thought about opening my private practice again, it was this snowball effect of like, okay, I need a course. All right, in order to start a course, I need to get an email list. Okay, which do you do first? Do you build the course? Do you build the email list? Okay, hang on. I've also heard that you have to have clients first, and then the clients come, and then you build the course, and then, okay, wait a second. But in order to get clients, I'm back to that email list. I have to get the email list going. All right, so if I have the email list, how do I get people on the email list? Social media, live talks, all the ways to build an email list. And then, all right, now I'm back to, okay, how do I do social media well? And then I'm trying to learn all the different ways. And I'm spinning my wheels and spinning and spinning and spinning until I get to the point where I'm like, forget it. Like, forget it. It is too many things to try to do all at the same time. And I have no guidance. I have a little bit of guidance all over the place, right? Because you hear about, oh, you should follow this person. They're really great at this. All right, this person, get on their email list. All right, learn from this guy. And I did, and that added to the overwhelm. That was just so much more overwhelming because I was like, well, this guy's saying this thing, but this person's saying this thing I should over here. Okay, now I'm going to do all these things at the same time, and nothing's creating forward momentum at all. And now I'm like spending money on my business and still don't have any clients. So it was so frustrating. It was so frustrating. And I went through several different ideas of what I even wanted my business to look like. Do I want a full roster of one-on-one clients? Do I want a group program? Do I want just a community that I help with? Do I want to go a route? Do I want to create a course that's like 100% DIY and hands off? You know, to decision fatigue was setting in big time. And for me, my personality does not do well with that. When I have too many decisions, I tend to shut down and go sit on the couch and do nothing. So that's kind of where I was until I found, okay, so, all right, I got to hone in on one person to learn from. I need to take all of this noise and I got to figure out how to channel it into the person or the course or the thing I am going to focus on and quiet everything else down. And so I was looking at a course. I had followed this person on Instagram for a while. I really liked what she said. She really resonated with me, the way she spoke on Instagram, the way she spoke on her email. It was very casual. I'm a very casual person. I don't want to be too formal. So her language was really hitting home with me. It was really nice. And I went as far as like really learning about her business course that she was launching. The thing that I was hesitating on was that she wasn't nutrition coaching focused. She was a personal trainer. So she was more on the fitness side of things, which was like, well, that's fine. It's close enough, right? I'll have to just translate all of her advice into my industry. And they're very, you know, obviously fitness and nutrition are like side by side. So it shouldn't be too difficult. So I was moving down that path, and obviously I hadn't pulled the trigger yet. So there's something was not quite hitting home. And then Erin Power advertised this webinar for Launch Your Coaching Business. And I instantly clicked on that link because I adore her. I mean, she is one of the best teachers I've ever learned from. And
Here.
as much, yeah, you know, as much as I've, you know, gone on and on about how good the Master Coach course was, it really was her and her style of teaching that I personally resonated with so much that as soon as I saw she was teaching a business course, and I follow her in her private practice online too. And again, same thing. I love the way she talks to her audience. I love the way she presents her information. I love the structure of her coaching practice. And on top of that, she and I tend to kind of talk to the same people, right? Our niche, my ideal client is very similar to hers. So it was like checkbox, 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 checkbox. And by the time I got to her webinar about launch your coaching business, I was like halfway through and I was like, where do I sign up? Here, take my money. Where do I sign up? This is exactly what I've been looking for. And I'll tell you what sold me more than anything on it, because it is another online course, right? It's you go through the modules, you go through the exercises, and you go through the homework assignments, and those are all fantastic. But then you have coaching calls with her, and they're group coaching calls. But I will tell you, they have been a game changer. That's exactly what I knew I needed, because looking back on, you know, 2017 to 2020, looking back on all this time that I've been trying to do this before, I had no one to talk to. I had no one to bounce ideas off of. I had no one to say, should I focus on this first or this first? And in the process of trying to find that answer, you just end up down another rabbit hole of information, spinning your wheels again. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel productive. And so I was like honing in on one teacher, one person who is telling me that she is going to be on Zoom 1 hour twice a week for the purpose of me to come on to say, what do I do next? Tell me what to do next. And I mean, that was it. That was like, that's exactly what I've been looking for. And that's exactly what it's been. So I worked through the modules. And
Do you mind if I just pause you
please
there?
do. I'm sorry. I talk so much.
Yeah, that's fine,
You
because
have
this
to
is
like,
really great.
yeah.
Susan, Susan is sharing, she was the one that asked that question, and she too just, finished the master class. So she's probably, right in that, like, I too, what I loved about the master class is having that live interaction. And I just want to acknowledge, Jennifer, like your willingness to continue to invest in yourself through the various certifications and such. But, also as you're sharing, I'm really hearing your growing discernment around like, all right, how much do I how much do I, go out there and build my confidence through doing versus like how much, guidance do I get? One thing that really sticks out here is that Aaron being your coach, and like as coaches, like investing in coaching and having our own coaches, like sometimes it can feel like backwards, but it's like that's part of the process,
Oh my gosh.
you
When
know?
when I decided to invest in LCB, at that point, when I was trying to decide which program to do, I had made myself a promise. I said 2024 will be the year that I decide definitively what's happening with my business. And
Mhm.
I will be fine with either outcome, right? I'm going to hire a business coach, and I'm going to realize that this is something I love and this is something I want to continue doing. Or I'm going to hire a business coach, and at the end of the year I'm going to decide I don't like this. This is not actually what I thought it was. This is, I mean, not the course, but owning a business, right? Running a successful private practice maybe is not actually what it's cut out to be. I don't love it. And if I decide that that's the answer, then it's either way, it was a good investment. Either way, I put money towards an answer that would put me one step in the right direction of what I want, what I want in my career, which is at the moment a beautiful balance between a job and that I can clock in and clock out and a private practice. And so what I'm learning through the coaching and the course is that I can create this any way I want it to be. This does not have to be a cookie cutter nutrition practice that this is the way she's teaching you. This is the way that we teach you how to build this type of practice, and you have to do this, and this is the goal, right? It is no, she's obviously a very good master coach. And so she's helping me decide what it is that I want my practice to look like, which for me at this moment in my life is not a big full roster, full-time 6-figure practice. I want a practice that's fulfilling and small and consistent. I have a good influx of clients, but I don't need it all. I don't need to scale. I don't need big right now. I just need consistent and fulfilling. And that's what I'm
I
learning how to
just
do.
appreciate your honesty there, Jennifer. That's so valuable for other coaches to hear as they're going after their business goals, and how you found ways like while, being a new mother, while, having another full-time job, like, and then still acknowledging that, like, that inner fire of like, I'm meant to do this. And it may
Yeah.
look different than that social media persona that, it's like you're finding your way. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to honor that your authenticity, and
Mm-hmm.
like that, to me, that's leadership. And there's another question that's coming up from Mara. Mara's asking, how often should you promote your new business on social media without coming across as salesy and annoying? I'd love to hear your response, and I have something to say too.
Oh, nice. I love that question. And I love that is actually something that is talked about in the course. And I honestly haven't gotten there. I haven't gotten to that module yet. But what's wonderful is that Erin teaches this in a really organic way. So what I imagine she would say, and what I have kind of started doing, is promoting it anytime it feels authentic to do so, as opposed to, gosh, I was doing that a long time ago. Like, I have to talk about my course again, and it feels so yucky. Um, but I think that understanding that you've got this service that will help people. I don't know if this is the smartest thing to do or not, but this is what I did to get past that, was I started a separate Instagram account. So at first, at the very beginning, I had a decent amount of followers on my personal Instagram account. And I was like, well, I'll capitalize on that and I'll use that and switch it over to my business. And I had such an issue with that exact thing, that feeling salesy and annoying, because I knew most of my followers were my friends and family. And that felt, I could not get past that. And so I was like, all right, forget it. I'm going to switch this back to a personal account. I am going to open up a business account, and everyone who follows me on that business account knows that I'm selling something. And
Oh,
I don't feel nearly as awkward, even though, yes, a lot of those followers are my friends and family, and I've got real small follower count, but they're the friends and family that are supportive. They're the ones that do want to hear about what I'm doing. And so now I don't feel as awkward posting to that account. But as far as like still feeling awkward and salesy on that account, I think that I have gotten better at offering services and information and then following it with, if you want to work with me, this is what I do, go here, you know? But this is definitely something I'm still learning and mastering for sure.
Oh, good. No, I appreciate you sharing where you are in that, and something that has been working for me. And I remember hearing this, where Erin, our fearless leader, she had so much compassion. And like you said, this piece around it being organic. And so, you know, social media or newsletters or, live events, like how often are we out in the world? I do believe that it's important to be talking about our business. And there's a truth, we're being bombarded with so much sales, that like the sales resistance is high. And if something
Mhm.
comes off, like what I like about what I heard you say was, it's got to be organic, or authentic, because when it's not, people smell it.
Very like hone
They
in
can
on it.
smell it
Yeah.
in live conversation, they can smell it online.
Oh yeah.
And so something that I've been practicing, and I was, do you mind if I share?
Please.
Okay, it's just um this idea, like if I'm, say I'm working with a one-on-one client and I'm inspired to like share with them maybe a short video or an audio message, like when that inspiration comes and I'm like, all right, is this something that I could also share with my newsletter list, share on social media? And it takes down the imposter syndrome by making it as if I'm speaking to one person. And the impact has actually been even more meaningful on the social media and the newsletter. So I'm like doing it for
Nice.
one person, but the impact is like, and it makes it less nerve-wracking for
Yep.
me. And then the impact, it's more natural. And so it's been a fun way to like take that piece down of like having to know it all and be it all.
I am
Yeah.
presenting to my audience. Yes, it is
Yay!
so true. That practice of honing in to your perfect client is so valuable, and I didn't realize how valuable until I was like, I'm just going to talk to this person. I'm going to talk to like I'm going to do my social media and my newsletter as if I am talking to this one person, and that helped so
Yeah.
much. Another thing that helped was that a friend of mine, kind of off topic, she said, you view a lot of us view social media like we're standing on a stage and talking to an audience. She's like, you got to change your mindset there. What you're doing, imagine if you're standing on a stage and you're talking to people walking by. They're not standing there looking at you and listening. They're walking by. And so you have to say the same message over and over and over again, because
Oh,
you're never going to hit the same people. It's not the same people staring at you. It is this parade of people always walking by, who, if you don't say the same thing over and over and over again, they're not going to hear it. They're not going to even know who you are. So I think that was really helpful to me. Like, oh, it's okay. It's not annoying to just repeat myself
I
over
like
again.
that. I like
This is what
that.
I do. This is what I offer.
Yeah, the people need, impressions matter. And that's where like some
Mm,
basics around marketing. And that's, Erin is quite good on,
mm.
teaching the skills to, get your business out there. And then, so that the foundations are tended to, and then you can go out there and find your voice, find the way in which it serves your community.
Definitely.
Right. Wow. Well, I want to acknowledge your willingness and passion to go after like entrepreneurism, Jen, especially with the full-time, job and the growing family.
Yeah. Well, I will be honest. I will say I still experience some imposter syndrome even coming on to this podcast, because I didn't want to give the false impression that I had this massive, thriving private practice. It is very much a work in progress. But for the first time in my career, as a health coach, I feel definitive direction. I feel like I have a very clear plan and path and steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 to follow. And not only that, which is a wonderful thing to be able to kind of shut down all the noise outside. Okay, now I know exactly what to focus on. But then as soon as you finish a module, as soon as you finish a lesson, as soon as you finish something in your business, you're like, check that off the list. Now I'm going to go talk to Erin and see what she thinks of this and see if it's not even like I need her approval. It's more like I have 3 different directions I could go with this. What should be in things like programming. Again, do I want to eventually get to group program? What is the best way to get there? And she is very clear on, oh, here's my suggestion. Here is how I would organize this. And then I would take this next step, and then I would take this next step. But ultimately, it's your practice, it's your decision. So you can come in and say, okay, all right, I'm working on this. This worked for me, but this isn't working for me. She's there to bounce ideas off with you and provide direction without telling you what you have to do in order to be successful, because everybody's unique. Everybody's business is going to be different. And it's just wonderful to have someone to talk to and provide that guidance from an experienced, business owner, right? And she'll be the first to tell you that she's not a business coach, but she's just doing it. She is running a successful business. And so being able to learn from that has been so, so valuable.
I would say she is.
Yeah, right. I know.
I would say she's
she's
coach. She's coaching business. She's coaching,
yeah.
Health coaches like that, and having that real live, support, and the community. It sounds like it can also take away that, like, wow, I'm so alone in this process.
Oh my gosh, the community is great. And with any new Facebook group, it can be a little quiet at first, but as excuse me, as it grows, it's becoming more engaged. And what this has been so valuable that excuse me, someone posted and said, I put it on my website. I have a website. It's my first website. I put it up. What do you guys think of it? And so we were able to go in, and I went in and I was like, I love this. I think this font maybe is hard to read. I think that this, and so I gave her feedback, and then I post about a blog or whatever I've done recently, and I get feedback from them. We have one fellow student who just posted his first ever podcast, and he's like, and it's messy and it's new and it's not perfect. And I'm so happy that it's done. And so we all get to listen to it and provide our feedback. And it's just been such a really wonderful community to be a
so
part
much
of.
support. And then I imagine this next question just came in from Mara, and I think that this can be answered, well. How do you get over the feeling that you're charging too much for your program, especially if it's brand new and you've never had clients?
Oh, that's a good question. It took me a long time. I'm trying to figure out how to answer that for a new coach, because it took me too long and I undercharged for too long. And I was very much like that. I was like, I can't charge premium prices because I don't have experience. This is my first coach. You're my first coaching client, or, this is my friends and family that I'm practicing on. So I think it should not take as long as it took me. And looking back, I would have charged more a lot sooner, because you do know how to help people. And I think that understanding how much work you put into each client, how much knowledge you have because of your training, and knowing that like the price of the program doesn't need, or your coaching or whatever it is that you're offering, doesn't need to be like, how many lessons are in this, right? How many modules are there? How many worksheets do I have? It's more about, what is the transformation that's going to happen? Like, what is that worth? What is it worth being able to have someone guide you through how to make decisions on food and nutrition and lifestyle, and have that hand to hold, or that person to guide you? That's worth a heck of a lot more than how many worksheets you're providing and your resources. I think that's kind of honing in on that and the value that you offer.
Jennifer. Transformation versus information.
Oh,
coming back to
very
that.
beautifully said. Yes.
I know that's what you said. That's what I heard you say. And then what is the price for that? And especially, for new coaches, I'm of the mind, start small, just start so you can get some, that transaction, the money coming in, the like confidence boosting, and you'll know. I mean, I have a rule of thumb, like when the schedule is tight and it's challenging to take on new clients, raise your rates.
Nice. I love that. Yeah.
Spirit agrees.
Fireworks and everything.
Right.
It's true. And what's funny is that you mentioned maybe you start small. That's a good way to confidently raise your rates, is that if you charge not enough and then you realize how much work you've put into that client and you're like, man, that was not enough money that I need, and you're all right, now I need to charge more. You can always raise your rates. And
Right. And that's where this is the creative space. I did this profession. I'm tickled to be a part of it, because as entrepreneurs, like, it forces us to deal with our money stuff, our imposter syndrome, these feelings of like, who am I to teach this person? And I believe it definitely Aaron, in the master course when I was a part of it, that very much, or maybe it was level 1 certification, but just that, through Primal, is that it's as long as we're like one step ahead of our client, if we can just bring them one step further,
Yep. Yeah.
we've done a great job. So we don't need to be these like, Tiger Woods is, putting coach, like, isn't the best golfer in the world, but he's a really great putting coach.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. And I used to think my imposter syndrome showed up as I needed to have the most robust, elaborate course to take people through. And all the information was there. And it didn't hit home for people. It didn't work. People didn't follow it. It was not hitting, it was not resonating. And now I've scrapped it, and I am one step ahead of the clients that are currently going through a coaching package with me, because I'm building it as I answer questions for them. So like, they're like, we go through a coaching session, like, all right, what's the goal for this next week? What are we doing? What are we working on? And then I add that information to a curriculum for them. And then they move on to the next thing. And so it's really slow. It's really easy. It's so much simpler than what I had built years ago. That took hours and hours. And that was absolutely my self-sabotage. Like, I'm going to build this thing instead of actually getting clients. I'm just going to build.
And has this been supportive during the LCB? I imagine these like pricing conversations and getting to bounce it off of others, especially Aaron.
That's been huge. I mean, like, how it is a little scary to think that you're only one module ahead of the person that you're taking this through. But again, there's 2 coaching calls a week with Aaron. So you can go, all right, I just met with this client and we talked about this. What do you think? What should I add to my course? It's been so valuable, so valuable.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, look, we're coming up on our hour. We have just a few more notes. Patrick wants to share that, he agrees, given imposter syndrome, feelings that you almost have, there's like feeling compelled to provide services for free. He wants to see that some of his products and services get a gauge, see how he can like gauge his value. And he wants to create the perfect thing before letting it see the light of day, evidence-based, etc. I say, Patrick, you are going to love being a part of LCB.
Yeah, it's true. And I resonate with all of those things. And what you said about you want to see some product of your services, like evidence-based before, I think that, oh, sorry, I was going to say, I lost my train of thought there. But what I was going to go with that is that I think that's also a good way to kind of gauge, to answer Mara's question, kind of gauge some of your pricing, is to go out and see what other coaches are charging and what they're offering, and go, and if you can, sign up for courses or sign up for products or services that people who are doing what you want to do, and see what they're charging and see what they're offering. And more often than not, you'll find that you're thinking like, oh, I could do that. Like, oh, she's charging that much for that? Okay, I can do that. I'm worth that. I know exactly how to do that as well. And that's confidence boosting, if you feel like you can offer that level of service and you see what other coaches are charging for it, and it's worth every penny. Worth every penny.
Oh, beautiful. And one last question. We say, is it better to have like a narrow focus of ideal clients or broader?
I have found that I need to hone in on one person. And that one person for me is a woman in her late 30s, early 40s. She might be a mom to young kids. She has been dieting her whole entire life and is sick and tired of feeling shame and unease around her body. And so she needs to learn how to actually nourish her body for real life. She's probably not eating enough. She's probably over exercising and under eating, and now she can't lose weight and she's stuck, right? So that is my person, and she's the person I talk to every time I do anything. And I have found that every time I take on a client who is not exactly her, it doesn't go very well. It's not that it's terrible. It's not like I can't help other people. It's just like something's not landing. Like I'm just not meshing with this person. It is not, you know what I mean? It's not like, and so like, for example, I had a client referred to me and she was wonderful and very sweet. She was 72 and she was looking for a different, and I was all right, sure, let's bring her on. And then after our first meeting, she was like, I don't know, you know, I'm like, yeah, this is because she's not my person. She is not the
Yeah.
exact client that I know I can help very specifically. Um,
Well,
and so
good
it just,
work.
life
Yeah.
got easier when I honed in on exactly who. And then was really interesting, the client that I was my most recent client that I'm currently working with. And again, I don't have a lot. I just have a few here and there. She emailed me. We worked together years ago before I was the master coach. She emailed me and she said, hey, I want to work with you again. I'm sorry I ghosted you back then. I need your help. I have 30 pounds I want to lose, and I need an exact plan. She's like, I just need someone to tell. She's, I've tried Weight Watchers, I've tried the other programs. I need someone to tell me exactly what to eat. And I almost dismissed her. I almost emailed her back and said, that's not what I do, because it's not. I don't give meal plans. I don't tell people exactly what to eat. Me personally, I cannot count macros or calories. It triggers, not, it puts me in a bad place. It puts me in a bad place tracking my food. So I can't do it. And that's not what I teach people to do. I teach people to teach, especially women my age, to help repair and nurture their relationship with their bodies and their relationship with food. And that's only hindered and made worse when we start meticulous tracking. Anyway,
Right.
so I almost said no. And I wrote back and I said, let's meet. Let's do a discovery call.
Nice.
In that discovery call, I determined that she is actually my perfect client. That she didn't want a meal. She doesn't want a meal plan. She doesn't want, yeah, she doesn't want me to tell her exactly what to eat and when. She just wants exactly what I offer, which is that let's start eating in a way that allows you to stop thinking about eating so much, because your body is being nurtured and fueled by the right type of fuel. And we've been working together and it's been great. She's been awesome. And so,
Jennifer, that's really fantastic. I honor your willingness to not just write her off because of an email. And the engagement matters, getting her on the phone, talking about, having that discovery call and really really connecting to what's happening for her. And then that was a fit. Good work. And I
well, and
just
I think that's
we
like
need to make
this
sure that we're
divine
at the
balance.
top of the hour.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, we gotta go.
and I want to make sure though that everybody knows, thanks for creating, it's a lot to take space and be here with us. And we have a special program for those that want to sign up. We have courses. We have a special promo for the Primal Health Coach certification level 1 that ends tomorrow, Friday, May 17th. And so to learn more, attendees can book a call with our admissions team for all of the programs, the LCB, the Mastery Coach. But primarily we have this special promo for level 1 tomorrow. So, others in the crowd, they're saying this is gold. We're teaching to fish. Thank you, Jennifer. This has been a great, great webinar. Thanks so much. Jennifer, do you have any final words?
Oh, I just could not recommend these courses highly enough. As someone who has come in to Primal, having already worked in the industry, these courses are really, really valuable, and they're valuable in a way that is very concise and direct and to the point, and that's been really valuable to me.
Oh, it's such a big deal. All right, we'll see you all in the community. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks, Terry Ann.
Bye-bye.